Welcome to the Wellness Creator Podcast. In today's episode, we are talking about artificial intelligence, AI, and what's working and what's not working in spring of 2025. This is a fast moving industry, change to the human experience. And so, what was working even in December or November of 2024, it's a different world now. So we want to talk about how we're using AI and tools like ChatGPT, where we think the biggest opportunities are for you to be using these as tools in your business, and what still is kind of like a little fishy about AI.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great topic. I think what is anybody nobody's talking about anything else but AI. And so we wanted to bring that to our audience because I think there's huge opportunities for people running businesses specifically that can just leverage these tools and literally save you so much time. So yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Okay, and there's lots of ways to like think that you're winning with AI when you're really just like kind of creating a sloppy mess in your business. So we want to kind of like unearth some of that too. So Sandy, what would you say at like this moment in time is your favorite use of AI in our business?
In our business, it
Yeah.
is the writing, the
Yeah.
copywriting,
Yeah.
100%.
And let's talk about like let's actually just share why that's true and what we've worked on to create something that writes effectively for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So personally, we've been doing this for almost 10 years, running this business, and we've had to write emails and sales pages and all the other marketing, copy, social and so on around the same topic, right? And I'm just kind of like bored. Like I can't talk about software and gorgeous software again. Like I can't, like it's just not personally fulfilling, right? Like it's hard. But so that is where I can use these tools and we can talk specifically how, but I use a tool called Claude and Claude.ai, and it's just amazing and it just makes it so fast. We've used it in a way so that it really gets to know our brand voice and who we are and what we sell and the audience specifically and their pain points and what they complain about and like all of the things that when we were coaching, we would talk about with copywriting. We've programmed that into or trained that into our Claude tool, and it spits out pretty darn good things.
Yeah. And what I really want to emphasize and why I asked you that question to share on the podcast is just the fact that there is a fair amount of training and personalization that has gone into an effective copywriting version of an AI tool for us. And I think that the biggest mistake that I see folks making is like opening up the free version of ChatGPT or free whatever app and just giving it a like one sentence prompt and then taking whatever the AI spits out and using that. And I think that that is like the equivalent, which I was just telling you, of having, you know, a college intern or a high school intern come and work in your business for one day or 1 hour and then giving them a task and then having the output of their work product get posted publicly, like without you reviewing it or editing it. It's just not, I mean, ChatGPT, for example, is probably going to be a better writer than most interns would be. So that's nice, but it's not going to be effective because it doesn't know your business. It doesn't understand like your particular niche and audience, like, and it doesn't understand your style, your values, your ethics,
Right.
what you're selling, what you're doing, how you're putting things out in the world, unless you train it to know those things.
Right. And every time you go, it's like a blank like, who are you?
Yes,
What are you doing?
yes,
Right.
yes,
And
yes.
that's the trick. So in Claude, the way that it works, and this is something that was developed specifically for writing. So it's divided into projects. And so I can say like, I don't know, like sales emails is a project, and I will upload, 10, 20, 50 different emails that we've written in the past that I'm happy with. So it gets to know tone, voice, phrasing, length, that kind of thing. And then I'll also describe who our audience is and what they're experiencing. Like we have a tool called 4Ps. I upload that into it in just in a document, like a text document. So it has this little brain behind it. And then I go to the prompt and I'm like, here's what I need. I need 4 emails for this, 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 and this. And here's the call to action and all the details. And it just spits it out and it gets better and better and better. If I just went to ChatGPT, it would be generic and full of terrible analogies and it would just sound like AI. That term like AI slop, I kind of love that, and that's basically what you get if you don't really train it behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I think that that's really important for business owners because I mean, it's one thing if you're looking for a way to respond to an email, like an inquiring email or something or whatever. But if you are trying to put your brand out there and you want what you write and create to sound like you and to be relevant to the people that you're talking to, you really need to put a little bit more work in. And I love this idea of putting the work in ahead of time. So, like, kind of building the engine behind the AI. Some people call this kind of like agentic work. Like, basically, you create an agent that's like your assistant or your person that gets, to know your, it's like hiring someone essentially, but you put in the time to train
Mm-hmm.
that worker and the AI becomes your worker. And there's levels and layers deep that we could go into this. But I think for the purposes of this podcast, it's worth just understanding that like you can put inputs in and you can ask the AI tool, whatever AI tool you're using, to make sure that the output it gives you is relevant and defined and dictated by the inputs you give it, in addition to like its general language abilities that are
Right.
part of the model that
Right. Are
LLM is
already
trained
there.
on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And
that's the part that most people are missing.
exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think I love the way that it also learns and it just gets better and better and better. And I do think that there is this like aversion to AI still, like it's this new technology and it's going to take over the world and we're all going to be ruined and it's cheating and it's not going to be me and like there's this like moral aversion to it a little bit, for
Oh
those who
yeah.
are
Oh, a huge moral
who are
aversion.
not like
Yes.
these,
Yes.
people who try things. And I just want to plead with everybody in our audience to
Mhm.
take a look at this
Mhm.
because I don't think it makes you sound robotic. It is what's happening. And the sooner that you jump on it and understand how to use it, like, first of all, it just saves so much more time. Like, nobody, we hear all the time from our audience that they don't like marketing, like they're there to teach or coach or whatever their expertise is, and they don't want to do this other work that has to be done in order to sell and find new clients. Okay, well, here's the tool. Here's the most amazing tool in history to help you do that. And I think when you think about it from the readers, like the reader's perspective, your potential students, they don't care if it is a well written in your voice email that they see themselves in and they like, oh my God, this is exactly what I need. She's speaking my language. This is my problem. She's got a solution. Like all those things we taught in
Mhm.
copywriting, right? The reader doesn't care that it came from AI. They
Yeah.
care about the message.
Yeah.
So if you can tailor that and make it sound like you and do it in 1 minute versus 3 hours, why would you not? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the thing. I actually would love we could have an entire show like just based on the
yeah.
ethics and the morals behind artificial intelligence because it's a very big topic with a lot of nuance, and I think both of us would have lots of moral problems with different aspects of this and also not moral problems. But I do want to say, like, I am a fan of having humanity in anything that I do, like having humanity in our business and in my life and in my interactions with people I care about in my neighborhood and whatever. But when you allow a tool to step in and do the things that it's able to do as well as a human, you free up that humanity to be used in ways that a robot is not optimized for,
Hmm.
could never be optimized for. And so it's not like you just like step out, peace out, I'm gone.
Right.
But by
Right.
us allowing AI to work in our business, we have more time to do things like podcast
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
create and do new projects and interact with people for real in the world
Hmm.
rather than sitting there behind a Google Doc typing out a copywriting email. And I think that like I just want to like things are not so black and white. Like if you have just a blanket moral problem with technology, like I would cause you to question that because we've had that in our audience, like well, in our industry since the beginning, Sandy, because when we came on the scene, there was no platform in the wellness industry for streaming your like that you could sign up for and stream your classes and put your videos online. Like
Hmm.
there were a couple of studios that had built this themselves. They did not sell these tools, and all of the major online booking tools for gyms and yoga studios and whatever else were against this.
Hmm.
Like de facto against this. I know because we had direct interaction with them. So we did get a lot of pushback early on in the industry from just the idea of putting a class online, right? Like there's a moral problem. This work is meant to be done human to human. There is a moral problem with adding in a layer of technology and removing the human. And obviously, I think the industry has evolved to such a degree that that's not even really questioned anymore. This is now normalized. So we've been fighting this battle since the beginning. And I would say that like none of us who use these tools or who create these tools are advocates for like removing humanity from the equation of anything,
No,
right? Like
no,
it's just
no.
changing where humanity shows up.
Yeah, and it's you still obviously you still have to be involved, right? It is not a cut and paste and send an email. It's usually
Yeah.
culling, it's usually editing, it's
Yes.
usually taking weird stuff out or,
Yes.
like words that you would never say out. So you're still doing a little bit of editing and then you can train it back and say like never use this phrase ever again. But yeah, I think I agree with you. And I really want people who are like, oh, I don't know, to use it, to explore
Play.
it, to play with it because it is really remarkable. And I think like when people are writing, AI is not going to take over like someone writing an autobiography or a personal memoir. Like it obviously can't, doesn't have
Yeah.
those memories and thoughts and stories. But in business, it can, oh my God, it can take on a huge load. And you're still the boss of it and you still get to see it and witness it and do it. And there's techniques that you and I now use that are like asking questions and having a conversation with it to get the outcome that we want versus just like you said, copying and pasting into free chat GPT and like, it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And okay, this is kind of off topic from the business side of things, but I want to put this in because we do speak to the wellness industry, to health and wellness. So those of you listening, by and large, have some sort of relationship, whether it's mental health or physical health or whatever. I believe that these tools are a great equalizer in terms of the ability for people to have access to health and wellness information. So, one tiny little caveat example, there's a billion of these examples, I'm sure at this point, is that like I spent close to $20,000 on private doctors for long COVID. That is an example of extreme privilege. I was able to get 95% better. That's where I would say I am now, 5 years later. A lot of people have not been able to get better. And part of that is because I was able to operate outside of the mainstream medical systems, pay top dollar to have private lab tests done all the time and see like all kinds of different kinds of healers, right? And now that is like magic voodoo sauce inside these tools. And I would say like, especially tools like I would say Grok is probably the best at understanding things like lab results and scans and x-rays at this point. But that's all whoever's the best is always changing because these AI tools are updated so frequently. And like for free or next to free or fractions of pennies, people have access to that kind of historical human brain power that can go into things like analyzing lab test results. And if you have like some sort of generalized moral issue with artificial intelligence, I would just encourage you to look at these like broad swaths of examples of how AI is like this great equalizer or creates accessibility to people with different levels of, whatever geographic flexibility or financial flexibility.
We could do a whole other podcast on just the way we use AI that outside of writing.
Yes. Yes.
Because I
Yes.
think we've done some pretty cool things.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot what I was
But
going to say.
it's like magical. I mean, even like I'm just thinking of our clients, like if you are a nutritionist or someone who deals with any kind of lab results or any kind of like your client is logging their food or their exercise or whatever, you now have tools at your behest that can take that information, understand it as well as you, like produce something that's really easy for you as the expert or as the trained healthcare provider to look at and like quickly understand and see patterns. And I just encourage you, like, we are obviously largely talking about marketing when we're talking about using AI, but like look behind the marketing and see all the other ways you could do this. If you are a coach, the idea of taking your coaching call transcripts, putting them into something with personal information redacted always, and understanding if you can see trends or patterns or opportunities of where you could help somebody go deeper into certain issue. Like there's just a lot there. Like I
Yeah.
just think I'm always like role playing, putting myself
Yeah.
into
Right.
these different careers. Like, wow, how would I use this? What would I do?
Yeah, it reminds me, for the people who are skeptical, it reminds me of like, it's kind of a dumb example, but like people who are like, don't use Google or the internet. Like we have encyclopedias,
Yeah.
like you're that
Well, those
person in
people
this
did
moment,
exist in
right? It's like, that's going to
yeah,
ruin humanity.
1999, though there were totally those people.
Yeah, that's where we are right
Yeah.
now with AI,
Yeah.
and it's not going away. And I just like would challenge everyone to examine your biases or your thoughts around this, and like, because oh my God, it is amazing like
Yeah.
what you can do. Like it's just like, Jenny, you always say like you want our entire company to be run by robots, right? There's no meetings.
Like to a degree. Like that is a facetious thing that I say, but like yes, so what I will just give a little reveal here that I think so much of the work of running a business is just nonsense, like administrative garbage work. I am a creative being who thrives in a creative environment, who likes challenges that are not like, how long do I have to sit on hold with the IRS today? So from that perspective, yes, like I love and embrace fully the robots taking over all of these jobs that I view as painful, useless wastes of my human experience. And I don't want to hire for those roles either because I don't want anyone to have to do that. Like it's just awful. So I believe people are creative beings and we all have unique genius. And I stand for a world where we're all operating within the context of that creative genius as much as possible and not having to spend our time toiling away doing things that computers and robots can do for us. Like, where can we live out, meaningful creative lives that impact people? Like, I would rather have robots doing all of the administrative work in my company so that I can go to the food bank and pack food for people, right? Like,
Mhm.
that's a way better use of my time for a million reasons than me like putting numbers in a spreadsheet or calling the
Yeah.
IRS.
I just heard a podcast and they were talking about like Google like middle managers, and they're all going to be replaced because
Yeah.
that an
Thank God.
AI can just think
Yes.
like them and do the work and make the
Yes.
decisions or
Yes.
whatever
Yes.
the
Yes.
output is, And it's like you could on one hand say, "Oh my God, all these people are going to lose their job," but on the other hand, like how could we use all those human brains for
Yes.
humanity
Do
or for
something
creative
else.
work or for
Right.
something else that is so much more
Yes.
meaningful?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's always pain that comes with transition, and that's part of the pain of being a human being in the world is like having to go through constant times of transition. That's hard. It's hard for our brains and our bodies to handle that. But like we have to also see and look forward towards what's on the other side of that transition. And so just like saying no, stop, don't change it, without any real thought about like what could be possible feels really short-sighted and kind of selfish. And I get it's real people's lives and jobs and salaries and totally get that. And like that sucks and that's going to be painful. And I'm a futurist at heart and I think that we should have agencies dedicated to helping to ease that transition and put people into those you know economic earning opportunities of the future. Anyway, the world doesn't work the way I want. So, but I still like there's so many people with middle management corporate jobs that hate their
That aren't
lives.
happy. Yep.
Right. Like what percentage of people actually want to be doing that? It's like the golden handcuffs, right? You get into some sort of like financial situation where like that's your security and I don't know. It's hard for us to relate because we're entrepreneurs.
Yeah, absolutely. I know people who are happy doing that work,
I'm
but
sure
yeah,
people are
it's not
happy. We're
it's
just
not.
talking because this is our worldview.
Yeah.
So you are listening to the Jenny and Sandy show, and this is our worldview.
Okay, I want to talk about the prompt library that we made
Okay, let's talk about it. Yeah. So why did we make it?
because I think it is, for me, it was like an introduction, a way to get people started. We made prompts specifically around marketing and copywriting. You also did prompts on delegation and feedback and
Customer
testimonials and
service. Yeah, and
time
time
management and stuff like that, which is super cool. And it's just It's not training the bot that we were talking about in the way that we were talking about earlier. I think we should do a workshop on that
Yes,
at some
we will
point.
do a workshop
But
on
it's
that.
a start, and you can
Yeah.
start to like converse. And I would encourage everyone to use those prompts, stick it in whatever tool you're using. It doesn't really matter. And then talk to it. Ask it questions.
Yeah.
Ask it for improvement. Ask
Why
it,
did you tell me this?
yeah,
Yeah,
is
why
there
what does this
something?
suggestion do?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me what else I could put in the prompt so that you could write this better or do this better for me. So, the reason I wanted to do this project was because I think both of us interact with a lot of people that don't use AI tools as much as us. And I'm always like telling friends or, like anyone, the gardener, anyone that like who can I talk to today? Like about the ways that they could use these tools to increase efficiency or whatever, or solve a problem or deal with like their possible lupus diagnosis or whatever. Like whatever it is, I can help you. Let me tell you what to do. And I think that part of that creative use of AI is just from like playing with it so much and seeing the way other people use it. In my mind, prompt libraries were like they're sort of like the gateway drug
Right.
into like
Yeah.
AI because
Yeah.
they show you all the ways that you can use these tools to help you create efficiency in your business and your life and your health and all the other things.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's like really like it's almost like an eye-opening tool. Like, oh wow, it can like plan my schedule for me.
Right.
Oh
Like,
wow, like it can write all my emails.
that's
Wow.
why I thought what you did with like
Yeah.
the time management stuff was
Yeah.
like people wouldn't even think to do that,
Right.
or the delegation
Yeah.
prompt. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, because you're
Yeah.
just thinking like, write me a social
Yeah.
media post on
Right.
blah, blah,
Because
blah.
that's what a lot of the
Yeah.
pre-made tools do that
Yeah, yeah,
exist.
yeah. Yeah. So it goes a little bit beyond just like
Yeah.
marketing and like copywriting.
Yeah.
So I think it's really good. So we'll stick the link below in the show notes, or if you're watching on YouTube, we'll put it below. It's like at this point, it's like $27. It's kind of a no-brainer. It'll just get the wheels turning. We also have instructions on how to use ChatGPT and Claude. Jenny uses ChatGPT more than I do, and I use Claude, and I don't even know if you use Claude. But anyway, so there it's really, really good for beginners. So we'll put that link below.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to say I'm super excited about, we've decided to bring back Joy and Hustle. So for those longtime listeners, you know that we did that on an old podcast, and I miss it. I really miss talking about current things and tools that we love, or books we're reading, or
Fashion,
fashion,
jewelry,
just completely
artists
random
that
things.
we are buying their artwork.
Just it feels just really current, like what are we listening to? What are we loving? What are we using in our business? So anyway, that's coming back as of right now. So do you want to do it?
Okay, I'll do one. I will do what is like the most recent tab I was looking at this morning, which is a company called Peg and Awl, AWL. Like Awl was that weird flat hammer tool that was
Oh,
used. I
yes.
don't know I don't
What
really
are
know
you
what it's
talking
used
about?
for, but it's this like beautiful it's like a lot of things that are handmade or made from antiques and whatever. But the reason that I was on this site is because they make these like artist carry sacks where you like put all the paint, those things where you like put all the paintbrushes and pens in like a cloth and then like a journal or your paper, and then you wrap it up. And it's like this tool that you can take with you on the train when you're going out to paint the Seine or whatever. Well, I have gotten really into journaling, like the artist's way really kind of hit me again finally for the 10th time last summer. And so I have all of these, I have fountain pens now and inks and all the things. And I have journals and different journals for different things and whatever. So I want to have a way when I travel or when I'm just even like going between different parts of my house to have like this little
Sounds like your
beautiful.
house is huge.
It's very
Just to
not
go when I go
huge,
to the other
but I
wing.
do travel a lot and do van life on the weekends. And so that's really what this is like for when I go out into the
Can
mountains
you
on the
give me the
weekends.
link again, or the name, because I can't find
Okay.
it?
It is okay.
What's it called?
Peg and all
Oh, I thought you said
built.com.
pagan.
Peg
I got it.
and
I got it.
AWLBUILT.com. We will put it in the show notes.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, I got it.
Everything on there is beautiful. They have an ink on this website that I'm ordering when I get off this podcast that is made from melted guns. Like they take old
Oh my
guns
God.
and they dissolve the iron from the guns with sumac and they turn it into ink that you can put in your fountain pen. It's like that. So
Wow.
that sort of
That's
like
really beautiful.
beautiful, the opposite of AI is like
Yeah.
melting
Yeah.
the iron from guns
Yeah.
and turning it into ink. And that
Yeah.
is, so yes, that's
It's
my,
really cool.
that's,
Actually, it's really, really good. That's great. Okay, what I'm going to bring is not as beautiful, but it is like life-changing,
mhm.
life-changing. So we discovered this yesterday. It's a site called Gamma.ai. Obviously, it's AI. And one of our biggest pain points for our entire lives have been making freaking decks. So if you're teaching a course, if you want to run a webinar, if you want to run a workshop, the decks are the death of us. And we are up late every time. And fonts change and we use Keynote and we share it and then I can't get it. It's kicked out. It's in the cloud. It's not in the cloud. It's hell. And I think a part of us just pulling back is like making decks are so effing painful. So
Yes.
found a tool called Gamma.ai and it will create the deck for you. So you can upload a Google Doc or a PDF with an outline and it will create, put each point on the thing, on the deck, on the slide card as they call it, and then you choose your template and boom, in about 1 minute you have your deck. You can still, and it puts images in,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it
Yeah. It is.
centers it.
Yes, yes, it is. It is. This is the thing. Like you and I have been talking about this for a few years. Like, where's the AI
Forever.
tool that does this? And it's a big part of why we stopped
Yeah,
doing
because it was
webinars
so
was because
awful.
we would just like cry and complain and like be upset with each other and like we'd try to be sharing through Keynote and one of us would get kicked out of the Keynote file and then Sandy, why am I kicked out of the Keynote? And then you'd be like, well, I can't edit the master slides if you're in there. And it was like just a decade of this, basically. Yeah,
Yes,
just torturous pain.
and you wouldn't experience that if you weren't collaborating with someone. It would be
Yes.
fine, but this was just so painful.
But still, Keynote has its own level of pain. I feel like even as like a solo
Yeah, yeah.
Keynote or
This is
PowerPoint user.
basically the
Yeah.
death of Keynote, I think.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I get the right website. It's gamma.app. .app, not AI. And I just wanted to say, like, I really thought the pricing was really good. So $8 per seat per month. I mean, that is limited up to 20 slides. And then you can go up to the next one, which is $15. If you are teaching a course or any kind of workshops that you do use decks, I would pay, don't tell them this, but I would pay easily double for this tool. Like the time it saved is just, and then you also present from that site. Like you don't have to download it or make it into a Google Slides, or you present from that website. So
Yeah. And they have a spotlight mode too, which I was playing with yesterday, where like you turn that on in presenter mode, and then where your mouse is, like it like blurs the other text on the slide.
yeah,
It
so
just highlights and kind of
focus.
bubbles up
Yeah.
what you're talking about. Like we used to spend, I don't know, it was hours and hours adding like animations to every bullet point and like just all the, because you want it
Yeah.
to be a good experience. And so it just takes, again, this is an example of things that we should not have been spending our time on. We are not like designers. And even still, like what a waste of all of those life hours.
So
And
many late
yeah,
nights doing
yes.
that.
And
So
like
many late nights.
hiring people to build the templates to pay.
God,
I don't even want to think about how much money we paid for like deck designs. And then we end up messing it up because we're
they
not,
never. Yeah.
it's just, anyway. So yes, that's a good one. That's kind of a hustle. And I had kind of a joy. Like melt your guns, make your ink, and then use this AI presentation tool.
In 2 minutes and then go back to your ink. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. So Jenny, let's do another one on using AI that's not writing.
Yes. Or like, yes. Yeah. Or not marketing.
Yeah.
Like a non-marketing AI. Well, that is like actually the more exciting thing, because once you replace all of your useless marketing time that you were spending doing tasks that can be automated by a robot, then you have time to go use AI to change the world. And that's really the segue into that one.
I love it. Okay, done.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, folks, we'll see you next time.